Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good night, wherever you at, whatever time you listening. Thank you for listening. Episode 2, thanks for all the love on episode 1. I really appreciate it, and it really inspired me to keep going with this thing. I'm happy you guys loved it. And yeah, episode 2. By the time this is live, overlandhills.com should be up with a note to the fans where I'm going to be riding more. And merchandise from those canvases that I told you guys about to t-shirts and hoodies designed completely by me. Thanks for your support and those types of things, but let's get into it. So for this episode, I want to talk about me as a writer, what inspired me to write originally and where I am now as a writer, and kind of get into a little bit more in the independent grind and where I am now and like what I want to like do in the future going into 2021. And so in the last episode, I was telling you guys how I never wanted to become a rapper. And so that's a unique place to come from in terms of eventually becoming a writer and a rapper. But there were specific things that brought me to wanting to make music, and those are things that drove me as a writer. And it was specific influences of the way that music affected me or saved my life in a sense. It's something that I wanted to provide for other people, and not so much in the sense of saving lives, but providing music that has a point in direction in terms of what I'm saying or wanting to say. And so originally when I first came to writing, I didn't come from the perspective of a rapper wanting just to make good raps. It was more so trying to present a perspective that people can understand and see themselves in. And that's something new that I realize is making music is a mirror. It's like, and I'll explain more of that later, but early in the beginning, my main mission was to affect the listener. And it wasn't like I was trying to have bars or anything of that sort. It was just I wanted to affect the listener the way that my favorite influences have. And so people always ask me, what are your influences? And it's always weird mentioning them because it's like you don't hear that in my music. But the John Mayers, the Jason Mraz, the Fleet Foxes, Father John Misty, Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, Marvin Gaye, Anita Baker, Smokey Robinson. These artists have been able to directly affect me and my psyche and who I am now. And I wanted to provide the exact same thing because I was able to see myself inside of these artists and their art. And so that gave me my reason for writing in a sense. And but moving forward, where I am now in terms of writing is at the time when I first started writing music, originally I couldn't write music that people couldn't relate to. I couldn't get too personal or get too say things that you guys couldn't understand, to like talk about a personal relationship, even though I did on Conversations, but that was a unique thing. I couldn't talk about like a block and Flatbush or things of that sort. It was a very like has to be a universal line. And there was a time maybe 3 years ago or 4 years ago when I really felt like I was running out of raps. Like I had no more music to write, and that's where my friend Chuck Strangers came in and helped me understand that music is all around you. And he broke off those barriers of me being able to be myself completely on music, and understanding that in providing your most authentic self, you're able to have people see themselves inside of that music the same way that I was able to. And that's a huge thing when it comes to music, is being able to create that transparency, that, and not so much transparency, but to create a world where people feel that they're connecting and that they feel as if it's influencing them. And so that's what brought me to music originally. And so I felt like I had this message that I wanted to deliver to the fans. And I was trying to locate that specific demographic that was just like me. And so it came kind of easy. That's why it might appear that I was making decent raps, but I wasn't confident in them. And I had to learn, because you got to remember that I started making music about a month or two before our first song came out. So there was no practice or no time for me to like learn before getting some type of like recognition. And so I've been learning in front of you guys, getting better and learning. And so I'm very confident in the raps that I'm putting out now, because I've learned how to create a world where people can relate to. And that's what you guys focus on in writing your own music. And that's kind of the main reason why I never did features too, is because the people that influenced me, like the ones I mentioned, they don't do features, and I know that it's a different genre, but them not doing features influenced me because it was like, I'm not in this to like play the game of music or like be a part of that world, which is something that really fucks me up sometimes, because like even though I've enjoyed over the years like giving music, I've come to this crossroad which I've gotten over this year, where it was like, am I in this to be a rapper, or am I in this for the original reasons that I had? And you get caught inside of this constant battle with yourself as an artist, especially for the reason that I came to music, where it's like, I don't know if I'm still on track on my mission. And I realized this year that I was getting away from my original mission. I started to focus on the success and wanting more fans, and I realized that that's not the important thing. I have to focus on just the people who are interested. I mean, we have, let's say, 500,000 to 1 million fans in the world, and why not focus on the 20,000 or 30,000 that are trying to grow and are focused on that message, that don't care about the photos I post or certain other things that people might think I need to do to progress. I progressed enough to where we have a fan base that supports us and is interested in us being unique to ourselves and not trying to play the game that other people play. And even though I regret not being more social and going out and doing that whole thing, because we would have been further in our career, I'm very appreciative of where I am because I stayed authentic to myself and to you guys. And even though I know I took like a little hiatus, that was me learning and coming to terms with who I am as a musician and figuring out exactly what I wanted to do with music. And so we're here now, where it's like people will wonder like, yo, how is it being a musician inside of the way that we are as an independent grind? Like, why not go major or whatever the case is? Because I want to stay authentic to ourselves. I wanted that freedom of being able to release music, and we were signed, and we still signed UA, but I wanted for Issa stuff to not be directed in any way for numbers or anything like that. Like, I'm fully not worried about these types of things. I'm worried about the people who want to listening, and so that's why I wanted to create Overland Hills Records and a record company that was unique to the stuff that I was doing. And I wanted to provide more talking and more interacting with you guys. That's why I had the phone calls open and the FaceTiming. Like, that's going to come back, is because I want to rip down that barrier that creates this separation of artist and fan. I want it just to be one group of people where, like, I just happen to be someone that makes the rap music or the soundtrack to who we are as a group of people. And so I chose the independent route, and it's harder. I have to spend my own money or like put in my own work. Like, I'm literally designing the merch, I'm recording the podcast, I'm directing the videos, I'm doing everything possible. But I enjoy doing it because it removes the feeling of someone else controlling it. And when it really comes down to it, like, I make music for people who are just like me, like antisocial in a sense, loners who are able to still operate in the world. You see, because like we have this common misconception on what introverted and extroverted means. We think we think that introverted means someone who's shy or reserved or into themselves or like doesn't like going outside, and an extrovert is someone that's like really loud and like extreme and personable, etc. But that's completely false. An introvert is someone that finds solace in being alone. Like, they have to retreat from being with a lot of people. It doesn't have anything to do with your personality. It's just the feeling of confiding in yourself and being an inside yourself person. You can be a loud person or a person that likes to be around people, but you have to retreat to a place of being alone. Extroverted people find their solace in being with other people. And so what we think of as extrovert introverted really is a type A and type B personality. Type A being someone that we would think of as extroverted. That's what a type A personality is. Someone that's personable, goes out, can control a room, likes being around people. And a type B person is that shy person that is reserved, doesn't talk a lot, et cetera, et cetera. Now, introverted, you could be a type A extroverted person, which is me, and a lot of you guys were like, we're able to go out, interact, we're personable, we're congenial, people enjoy our companies, but we also find ourselves in being alone. We're the ones leaving a party early or trying to get out of a hangout early to go home and be alone. Extrovert would be someone that is the opposite, that if they're feeling down, they would want to be around people. And so I represent for those type A introverts, those people who do find that solace in being alone. And that I remember my friend Drew said something. He was like, Issa is just protecting his energy, and it's so true. I'm so on that. So that's why I don't hang out with other rappers or like socialize with the game or try and play that game, because I'm so protective of my energy and who I let into like my spaces. You all should be. I don't mean that in a weird way, but back to like the writing, and what evolved in my writing for Tempus that you guys are gonna really appreciate is originally with UA music, I was coming from a perspective of a more condescending perspective of we're gods and we're telling you guys what to do. And as I've grown as a writer and as a person, I've come to a place where with Tempus, it's more of a vulnerable, transparent album where it's me replacing myself on the level, for lack of better words, as you guys in a sense. And not saying I was ever above, but creating a world where I'm a mirror instead of being someone that's kind of condescending. Even though you guys can hear me talk about addiction and depression throughout the music, it can give the sense that we're not going through these types of things still, and we also do. And that's where my writing is now, is trying to be that mirror by being as personal as I can, personable as I can with the music that I'm releasing, and have you guys be able to see yourselves inside of that music. And that's my main focus with creating music right now, is focusing on that. You see with Boys Don't Cry, that's the next single to come out. That song, Boys Don't Cry, is literally about me feeling as if we live in a society where like men aren't supposed to cry when we're going through things, and we're aware of that. And so it was kind of a play on that, of how like laying my emotions out on the track. I literally talk about everything that I possibly can in that moment of emotion, and speaking on how why I'm a lone person. I have lines in there like, I wish you well. Though love is something that seems to fail, you push your faith in someone to end the broken and taking L's. I put my faith in no one. I'd rather save it inside myself. You know what I mean? Like these types of feelings of wanting to be alone and not trusting people, which isn't the best thing, but those are the emotions that came out of me writing that song. And Boys Don't Cry is a very important song to me. Shout out to King Jet. Shout out to Shweez. Shout out to Matt Zara. They put together the production for me. And that was one of the first songs that I recorded when returning back to do Tempus. And it kind of set the bar for the other songs in terms of like what I wanted to hit, because I didn't want to do anything conventional on this album, in the sense of that's why it's independent and why I'm doing it all myself, is because I never wanted to feel as if I had to conform or do something like everyone else. Like the music I listen to and who I am as a person is unique to me, and I wanted that to shine through in the music I'm making. I like hip hop, I like alternative, I like acoustic guitar, I like all different types of music, 70s music and R&B, and I wanted all of those different influences to shine through inside of the music. And that's the best compliment people can give to me when they give me compliments on the songs, is like, I love when people say, I hear you in this. This sounds like the music you listen to with you on it. And that was the mission, and I'm happy I was able to accomplish that. And so with Boys Don't Cry, it's like, it's an extremely special song to me. This whole album is special to me, and I'm happy that you guys are really loving Underwater. I hope you guys enjoy those posters that I put out and the little merchandise that I put out around Underwater. But yeah, it's like, I wanted to create my own sound that was unique to me, my own genre almost. You guys hear me say that, but I hope that you guys hear that on Underwater and on Tempus. And on Boys Don't Cry, is the intent that we put into building the song. I mean, these songs took months to make per song. That's why Tempus took long. It's not like I was just holding on to it. It's like I've been just like being so meticulous with what I wanted it to sound like, and not really settling on anything. Even till now, I'm not settling on anything. I want it to be something special, and I know that you guys will hear the effort, because that's something else people say. You can hear that we put a lot of effort into making these songs, And I hope that when you guys do hear Boys Don't Cry and how you guys enjoy it underwater, that you enjoy it. We got some cool visualizers coming that I did. You guys are gonna love it. You're gonna see it like tomorrow or the day after. So yeah, I've come to terms with my role as a musician and who I want to be as a musician. And that's what I'm going to try and do for 2021 is remove the barriers of or the separation between artist and fan. Like, I want you guys to be able to call me, text me. I want to be able to be providing podcasts 2-3 times a week, doing vlogs, doing blogs, and just continue to be a pillar of light for you guys, help you guys through whatever problems you guys are going through, or even just provide music or the soundtrack for what you guys feel, because we're all so similar, the people that listen to our music. It's like we're all this one demographic that the one thing that makes us similar is how we all are unique to ourselves. And I want you guys to keep capitalizing on that uniqueness in your music and who you are. And that's kind of my mission and my goal for moving forward as a UA member. And speaking of UA, I know it's like you guys probably like, where's the music at? What's going on? Pretty much this year, since we were focusing on soul stuff, I don't want to give you guys any lukewarm music. Just didn't want to. I didn't want to just put together a shitty song or shitty songs and just give it to you guys. I wanted to have UA come with something very strong, and that's the focus for next year as well, is to come and put out a couple new albums for UA, as well as still expanding on my solo career. This Pressure, which a lot of you guys even know that I produced. I produced the one on Ox album, AK's album, and I have Pressure coming out next year after Tempus, which is a self-produced project, which is straight bangers. It's like, you guys are going to love it. But those are my focus for next year, is to continue putting out music and continue to push the boundaries forward of what I think my music should be. I don't want to follow any games. I don't want to have to do what everyone is doing, like, because I didn't come to music to be a rapper. I came to music to be, in a sense, a mirror, to be someone that you guys can see, and for me to tell you guys my mistakes and the things that I did right and the things that I did wrong, and show you guys that we're growing in this together and we're learning together. And there's nothing really that you guys can't do if we can all figure out how to take control of the moment and capitalize on these moments and these seconds in our lives that we watch go by because of life. If we can learn how to manipulate these seconds, we literally manipulate time in a sentence. But if we can learn how to apply ourselves inside of every second, we can literally start to bring the change that we want in the world together. Because you see how we're able to control, like in the last podcast, we're able to control the moments. Like, if I want to, I could stop doing this podcast. I could jump out this window. I can go downstairs. I can do a bunch of things, right? And I'm controlling my reality by controlling every single moment. This is a dilemma that I have, or a new question that's arose for me that I want you guys to ponder. If I'm controlling my reality, right, as far as my 5 senses could go, and mine now, like, I can pick up my cat, I could do many things in this moment, right? Is it not true that you directly affect my reality? For instance, you guys listening to my music directly affects my reality, or your mother directly affects your reality, as in if I was in the same room as you and I punched you in the face right now, right? I'm directly affecting your reality. Or if you picked up a book from someone, they are directly affecting your reality. Or even just the people around you, your friends, your family. If your friend passed away tomorrow, it affects your reality. Everyone around is affecting your reality. Everyone inside of your world. So if that's true, who is actually really creating the reality? How can I purely say that you are creating your reality by yourself, knowing that everyone around you is also creating it with you? Down to if you were born into a rich family, you're rich, your reality was affected by your parents. Or if you hit the lottery tomorrow, or whatever the case might be, like, sorry, that wasn't a good one. But if your friend if your friend becomes a millionaire tomorrow, it directly affects your life. Or if you and your friend stop being friends tomorrow, or I think you guys get the gist, but people around you affect your reality as well. You are not solely in control of your reality. And so just knowing that little thing removes the ability of you saying that you solely create reality. We have so much control over it, but our realities are directly affected by everyone around us. So who's really controlling the reality? And if you take that to a macrocosm perspective, your 6 people are affecting another 6 people you don't know. That's affecting another 6 people you don't know, like 6 degrees of separation. And so we're all actually one unit affecting, this is a theory, affecting each other's realities. The whole situation, this reality that we're looking at right now, is co-created by everyone. You can control your reality on this small scale, but it's controlled by others around you. And so all of these little circles, like if you represent a circle and then your mother represents another circle that's intertwined with you because she controls your reality, and then her ex-boyfriend from 30 years ago, his circle is connected to hers because he affected her reality, right? We have all these circles that are intertwined, right? And they're all affecting each other. And so the only way for us to see any progress in the world, because I was just been pondering like creating a reality or how do we save the world or things like that, is everyone has to realize how much we affect each other, because we really do. I wish I lived in a world where you were in sole control, but you're not. And everyone's mistakes and everyone's downfalls are directly affecting people around you. If you're living with your parents right now and they lost all of their money tomorrow, it would directly affect your reality, right? And so there's something to ponder, is who's really creating their realities, right? Just something I think about, because going back to time and Tempus, we exist in a world where this separation that we experience, I believe, is an illusion. I believe that the separation is a gift, us being able to see ourselves as ourselves, and me knowing that, all right, I'm me, right? And like, I control myself, right? And I have thoughts and these types of things. I believe that this is an illusion. I believe we are more closer to a system, kind of like the human body, where cells are separate, like entities in a sense, but they work together to create a whole. And our biggest downfall of society is seeing the separation, is not understanding that the gift of being able to control ourselves and believe and have a conscious and experience is a gift, but it's also illusion that we're just one unit, one entity. And when one entity moves together as one, it's much stronger. If I'm by myself, it's harder than if I have 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 or 60 people. When the Indigo movement was super on the rise, the reason why it got on the rise, because you guys made it on the rise. Like, we connected and you guys told people. People saw, oh, a lot of people are doing that, because that's a part of human brain, like the way not human the human brain, but human nature, the way that we are creatures that follow. And I believe that that's by design. I believe that we do look, people might think like, oh my God, no, everyone's a follower. It's like, no. I think human beings are followers by nature, and we're looking to connect with other people and kind of build movements in a sense, not so much in those words, but we want to be Democrat or Republican or black or white, or I'm Chinese, I'm Asian, I'm black, I'm white, whatever it is. We have all these identities that we identify with that make us who we are, but those very things are separating us. And if we could realize that, not on some corny shit, that we literally are one unit. If we moved like Voltron, like we were all cool ass cars, right? Little fucking whatever cars, and we fucking came together and made some sick shit when we fucking connected. Like, that's literally what I think society is. And if people could wake up to this reality that this individualistic mentality that we've been given is a good thing, because it helps us thrive and prosper in the world around us, but it's also an illusion, and it's the reason why shit is fucked, because we're so invested in building ourselves up that we forget that we're connected. For every billionaire, right? And we all think these types of things, like, he's collecting billions because that's the way that the world promoted him to do, which is right. But if we lived in a world where reciprocity and altruism was important, these things wouldn't be able to exist. Like, because people understand that it doesn't make sense. For every $1 billion you have, that's $999 billion, $1 million that poor or underappreciated communities aren't receiving. And if we can move to a world where we are moving in unison, it'll be better, because this individualistic world is only destroying the planet. We're not thinking of other people. We're not thinking of the earth or of how can we all come together and make the world better? Imagine if every scientist on the planet was moving on one unit, trying to like do things. We would even move faster in terms of, I mean, the world has been amazing in all the technological and space advancements that we made, but we're all doing on an individualistic base. I work for Russia, I work for America, and of course I know that they link up, but imagine they were really linked up. Imagine the world was moving as one. And I think this is the only way for us to progress as a society, is to move towards being one unit together instead of this separate entity. But it's hard. I know it's hard. It's hard for all of us. I mean, we walk by homeless people all the time. We don't give them money because the world doesn't promote us to do this. Not that people are wrong. The world doesn't promote us to share and do these type of things. I do the same thing. I'm not some guy that's like just giving out money or anything like that. We are taught that we have to build wealth for our own families and ourselves and focus on ourselves. But I always have this funny theory that, like, I hate award shows, but if you watch these award shows, right, it's hilarious how, like, there's like 100 or let's say 500 people in there and they're all millionaires, right? And literally, if at every one of those award shows, every single person gave $500,000, right, to like some type of like cause to help the world, you know how much money would be built a year from all these rich people? You know what I mean? And people hate taxes. Taxes should be even more, like, honestly, because we need to create a balance, more of a balance in terms of the society. And I don't blame anyone. We're all doing it. I'm doing it too. Like, we focus on ourselves. We want to have cool things. We want to have cool cars and cool cribs and cool clothes and help people around us in terms of our family and friends. But for the children coming, we have to teach them something new, because this individualistic mindset that we all are trapped inside of isn't beneficial to us as a whole. I watch my girlfriend, who's the most empathetic, sympathetic person on the planet, who cares for the world. She gives money to homeless people and cries at different things like this, but even she has aspirations of being a millionaire and having a big house and these types of things. And it's just the world that we're in. It's like, and it's even directing what people do as a living, which is terrible, because, like, in my opinion, I think she should go into civil rights. She just graduated with her master's in psychology. She's a perfect example, but she wants to do entertainment law because there's more money in it. And it's not her fault that she wants to build this capital. But if the world was a place that promoted us to focus on who we are and what we really want to do instead of building money, we would all be doing different things. Like, I always say, like, teachers, who are the most important people on the planet possibly, or even police officers or firefighters, these people are paid poorly, right? Or the legal aides inside of the courts. They're paid poorly, so it attracts a very low level of person to do these jobs that are very important. So teachers who are teaching children know, like, for instance, me, I would have loved to be a teacher. I think teaching is one of the most important jobs on the planet, but because the compensation for it isn't high, I obviously wanted to try something else. Now I need to be a psychologist, or I need to do some other form of thing because that's going to build more money. You know how many doctors we have who would have probably wanted to be acrobats or, you know what I mean, ballerinas or whatever the other case might be. But because of society's wants for us to make money, they'll go and be a doctor and just be a shitty doctor. The same way I speak on shitty teachers, same way that they're shitty doctors. If doctors made $25,000 a year, trust me, not a lot of people become doctors. And teachers made $500,000, everyone will be teachers, correct? So, the world being so individualistic and having us only focus on building wealth, which is a good thing for the world we're in right now, isn't going to be beneficial to the world going forward. We have to start focusing on making people who are able to capitalize on things that they want instead of going away from the things they want. Because we know that generic story of, like, oh, this guy really wanted to fly airplanes, but he ended up becoming a shitty banker. Now he's a millionaire, but he's depressed because he wants to fly airplanes, whatever the case is, right? Like, this needs to stop. We need to start putting people in the position to be able to be the best at what they want to be and not chasing the monetary gain. Even though it's important to obviously make money, we have to move forward. And that's the theme of this album as well, as moving forward. And so that's episode 2, man. Thank you guys for all your support. I love you guys so much. It feels good doing this. The website should be live right now, so you guys go over there, check out the note that I wrote, cop something if you want. If you don't want to, it's cool. Just keep providing content. And yeah, love you guys. Hope you guys like this one. Peace.